So at this point now, I have a variety of tracks, all with different samplers loaded with different samples that are all being modulated in some very unique ways. We've taken advantage of the 3 different modes in Sampler, the ability to freeze the playhead, and modulating a lot of different things in here. We've done some multi-sample goodness and taken advantage of using the key zones, velocity zones, and select zones. We learned about the zone parameters here that we can use and assign different percentages to the different zones inside of the sampler. So much good stuff here. The only things I didn't really cover, which I'll just briefly mention right now, are the things we have here on the right side. So obviously we can pan the output of sampler to the left or right. These are global parameters, by the way. We have the velocity sensitivity. If you don't want the sampler to react to incoming velocity, well, I should say if you don't want the sampler to have the volume affected by the incoming velocity, you can adjust this accordingly. And next to that, we have the gain. This is the gain that's applied before the actual output of the sampler. And that's pretty much it. So I've set up a few different scenes here. And again, I didn't really do a lot to process these sounds at all. I think for maybe 1 or 2 of them, I added a little bit of reverb or something like that. But I'm just going to just kind of quickly go through these different scenes because I have different combinations of the sampled sounds, just so we can appreciate some of what's possible. And again, I hope that you've enjoyed the course. I hope that you've learned some good and useful tips and tricks to apply when using the brand new sampler in Bitwig 2.4. So if I play this first scene, so track 1, we have the sound that I utilized with repitch. We froze the playhead, got some little scratching going on with some modulation. We have our sampler here where I took 3 different drum samples, assigned them to 3 different notes, using the PAR sequencer 8 to modulate repitch at the end of 2 bars. Then over here, we have our stacked zones where we're using the velocity zones to trigger different samples. Next scene here. So with this sampler, we brought in the different chords and used the zone select in order to choose these and modulating the select knob with an LFO. We go to the next scene over here. So here I've got that one sample where we're using quite a bit of voice stacking. We have 3 voices modulating various things in here. And this is one that I used earlier. We have some overlapping zones here. We grouped 3 of these into one grouped zone, so that way we could affect parameters of those together. And moving on, what's going on over here? So this weird pad sound, which again started off as a drum loop, using cycles, modulating the formant control with an envelope, slightly modulating the playhead position with an LFO. And this is a weird synth patch that we are using the textures mode to modulate within the sampler. So anyway, extremely flexible instrument, and I'm just barely scratching the surface. There's so many more directions you can take this. So I hope that you're inspired and that you're just as excited about this brand new instrument as I am. Again, my name is Thavius Beck. Thank you for your time and attention. And until next time, have fun creating and mangling some audio.